everybody. Good afternoon to those on the West Coast. Good evening to the East Coast. Good very late night to our friends in India and around the world. I hope you're all having a wonderful time. Welcome to Spotlight number 2, US edition. This is the third of our IIT 2020 startup spotlights. As you may have heard me say before, my name is Animesh Pathak, and I'm the chair of the startup track here. Out of the 450 startups who submitted the information to us, we ultimately had a very difficult task to pick only 33 to be spotlit. We have already had 2 sessions, 16 presented yesterday, 10 presented IST, so last night, Pacific time. And in this session, we will have 7 more of our IITian co-founded startups presenting to us. Just a very quick housekeeping note over here. All the startups have been assigned tiny stations, if you will, in our booths area. So on the main event page, if you would go to the booths section, go to filter categories startup, you will be able to see them all. I strongly recommend that you go and browse there. You can also use the search box to look for your favorite startup. It may be one of the ones presenting over here today. With that said, I will pass the mic to my mentor in crime, Ashu Garg, general partner at Foundation Capital. He's an IIT Delhi alum, also from IIM Bangalore, where he got the President's Gold Medal. He invests in some very, very cool companies and is overall pretty awesome guy. With that, Ashu, over to you.
Thanks, Animesh. With that introduction, I guess I don't need to say a lot more. I'll stay while I'm ahead. I'll keep going. But very quickly, guys, I'm a partner at Foundation Capital. We're an early stage venture capital firm. I focus on investing at the seed and Series A stage, primarily on enterprise software startups, everything from applications down to sort of infrastructure at the bottom of the stack. I've invested in at least a dozen, probably more, IITian-led companies, including companies like Cohesity, Eightfold, and Turing. I'm really excited today to have 3 great venture investors with me on the Spotlight session. I'll ask each of them to introduce themselves, starting with Ankur Jain, and then Ashmeet and Bab. Ankur, maybe a 1-minute introduction about yourself and what you focus on.
Thank you, Ashu. Thank you for having me here. I'm Ankur Jain. I'm founder and partner at Emergent Ventures. We're a Silicon Valley-based seed stage venture capital firm focused primarily on enterprise software. We have a portfolio of about 30 companies, and approximately, I would say, half of them are founded by IIT alumni. So we're pretty deep in the IIT alumni network. I'm an IIT Delhi alum, and we've got 3 other teammates, and all of them are also IIT alums. And we tend to be fairly high conviction investors. We typically tend to lead rounds at the early stage, and then have a fairly good, more than 75% of our companies have already gone on to the next stage, which is either a follow-on financing or profitable exit. So we tend to be very focused on helping companies get to the next stage.
Thank you, Ankur. Great to have you here today. Ashmeet?
Thank you, Ashu. Thank you, Ankur. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashmeet Sidana. I run Engineering Capital, which I describe as venture capital for engineers, because even though I work as a VC, I'm really an engineer at heart. I focus on companies that are taking technical risk in software. They should have a technical insight, which I define as, if I tell a good engineer what they're doing, it wouldn't be obvious how they're doing it. And I'm a very early stage investor. So if you are thinking of starting a company, I'm happy to write you your first $1 million check. I focus only on the seed stage. And I'm actually the first institutional investor in all of my portfolio companies right now. Real pleasure to be here today.
Bab?
Hi, thank you, everyone. I'm Bab Goyal. I'm a founding partner of a $500 million new fund called NTTVC. We invest in early to mid-stage companies. We are focused on future of enterprise and digital health space.
Thank you, Bab. We'll now start off the spotlight sessions. Each company will get 5 minutes to present, and there'll be 3 minutes of feedback from the judges. First up, we have IIT2020 with IIT2020. Ajay, over to you.
All right, and my screen is visible?
Yes, all good.
Okay, fantastic. My name is Ajay Jyotswani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of IIT2020. Looking at it from our lens, we believe that Visa is the largest cybersecurity company that secures financial transactions. And just like Visa, we secure seamlessly information transactions. And what we deliver to our customers today is secure and privacy compliant cloud folders and files. Look at this top 15 national bank that we have been working with very closely for the last year or so plus. At this point of time, they were migrating, transitioning from a old generation loan origination system to a new generation loan origination system. And any document information that egressed, checked out, or downloaded from this particular document, from this particular application, SaaS application, is now secured and made privacy compliant via I2Chain's engine. We have successfully completed a series of proof of concepts, and at this point of time, we are exploring engagement that will grow us to 1,000 users in 2021 at a revenue expectation of around $100,000. Another case example. Now these are all design partners. We consider them as early engagements with us. We completed our POC with a Fortune 10 company very recently. At this point of time, we are helping them secure the provider-to-provider sharing of classified documents. Our expectation with them is to grow to 4,000 users through 2021 with a revenue estimation of around $300,000. A very large global entity is struggling to move their classified and sensitive information across to cloud. They have most of their content stored on on-prem systems. We are automating those policies on premises, if you will, and then as they move into cloud, the policies move with the environment, and our security travels both with the document as well as these policies that get enforced both within the network, within the domain, as well as outside of the domain and outside of the network. We have successfully completed the proof of concept, and we are at this point of time engaged to carve out a model for deploying it across 16,500 users at a price tag of over $1 million. Now, I want you to imagine a mortgage banker out there, because as a company, we lean towards mortgage banking, financial services companies, if you will. Imagine this mortgage banker that takes your and your family's personal information and has to transact with over a dozen entities to underwrite that loan. In the United States, it takes over 40 days to underwrite that loan, and a digital process gets broken several times where the bank is forced to transact that information over USPS, FedEx, or fax. Even in today's day and age, banks spend a staggering $14 billion in the United States to send information across to co-processors. TrustTalk summarized it very well. 75% of the enterprises are unable to securely share sensitive information, comply with privacy regulation. I2Chain is a SaaS application, intuitive, easy to use, unlike what you have seen in the marketplace out there, where a large bank can start deploying and taking advantage of this intuitive application today. We secure and share sensitive documents both within the enterprise as well as outside the enterprises. We are file type agnostic, storage type agnostic. This particular chart shows a workflow where a content owner can classify using our patented zero-click technology, classify a public cloud, a private cloud, on-prem store, a SaaS application. The I2Chain application underlying chains the information that encrypts the files, enforces the policies. The users share it using Outlook, Gmail, Slack, Teams, what have you, and the recipients consume only chained information or trusted information. And the reason I call it trusted is because every piece of information is encrypted. The policies that you set at the enterprise level are enforced, and every action is recorded on an immutable ledger. Just like when you make a call data record is created. When you make an information action, an information action is recorded, and we maintain a life cycle chain of custody in a way that enterprises for a first time now can harvest evidence quality forensics. Why do you require it? Think of it, promissory note, private capital markets. they are just manual processes, even in today's day and age, a huge, huge market opportunity. Having said that, we are not alone, but we differentiate ourselves in 4 key vectors. First, we are able to secure information in every environment, clouds, on-prem, SaaS application, folders, files, what have you. We are able to provide evidence logs, audit logs, forensics in real time in an immutable manner. Our data security.
Now, Ajay.
One more time.
We're at 5 minutes and 30 seconds over.
Okay. And the best part of it is a team. We are experts. All of us have more than 20 years of technology, cybersecurity technology experience, but we again lean towards banking financial services. And at this point in time, we are inviting investors, raising $3 million to attain $1 million of ARR in a short span of 12 months, where in the first half,
Ajay, we have to cut you off now.
500K. Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Ashmeet, Vab, Ankur.
Yeah, really nice presentation, Ajay. It's good to see you again. I loved your start.
Likewise.
With that visa example, you immediately grabbed my attention. So very nice starting over there. And you clearly have identified a problem that exists. This is, an issue that exists and will happen. The question I would have for you is, what is it that prevents the established players? We have companies like Adobe, DocuSign, etc., who are well established in this space, who have a desire. What stops them from coming in?
Great question. And most of today's technology aims or has an intent to be able to bring information in their cloud or their box or their content to be able to secure it. Content in the SAP system or Oracle CRM is secure, in DocuSign is secure. But as soon as a contract gets signed, unfortunately, DocuSign drops the ball. We secure the information through its life cycle. And that's our differentiator, which means we secure you in your home versus asking you to come to our home for security.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let the others ask, and then maybe we'll.
Ajay, thank you for a good presentation. What do you think the sales cycles is going to be? Something like this, and then is it trying to sell to CISO, CIO, or your model is that it can be easily deployed from a freemium model?
It's a freemium model, yes. So it can be deployed today. Having said that, we sell into the head of consumer banking, head of commercial bank, head of capital markets, and these folks, by virtue, at some point of time, they delegate us to the CISO, but we get in front of the line. So we have currently a rich pipeline of $5 million. We hope, and this is when I say pipeline, I mean a pipeline which has more than 50-60% probability. We are very hopeful of being able to convert this pipeline in 2021. To your specific question, cycle time.
I'm sorry, I'll cut you off. 30 seconds over. Thank you very much. Coming up next is Poise by Soumya.
Hi everyone. Are you able to hear me fine and see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. This is Soumya. I'm a co-founder of Poise, and our mission is to help the world improve their spoken communication. And one of the first insights we have is that no one really knows how they sound in presentations and meetings. And I'm sure you all agree with us on that. And why that's a problem is that for most of the knowledge workers, and there are 100 million knowledge workers in US, how you speak is super important. It determines business results, it determines promotions, how you do in your career. But there are no easy ways to improve on that. Personally, myself, I have struggled with this problem. I've got a lot of feedback on that I need to improve my communication at work and in college, and I've done various classes towards that. I've tried Toastmasters, I've done coaching, and I've improved to some extent, but it's pretty hard to improve on this particular skill. And some of the reasons for that is that it's very hard to get feedback. Asking a coworker is awkward, and there's no kind of clear direction from that. It is time consuming to improve. Going to Toastmasters or any other coaching is expensive, time consuming. So there's no great solution today, especially any software-based solution today for improving on this aspect. So what we are doing at Poise is sort of, you can think of it as Grammarly for speech. It's an AI-powered communication coach that provides real-time feedback and training by observing all your cues in online meetings. So it sort of sits on the background when you're doing online meetings and observes your verbal, visual, vocal cues by taking in the mic and the camera input. And then it provides you both real-time feedback and training over time to improve on all aspects of their communication. So what you see here is an example of a dashboard that a user gets once they've uh, recorded or have Poise observe a lot of their online meetings. So you see it's personalized to them, where they see some of the top focus areas that they want to improve on, or what the app detects that they should be improving on. And it kind of helps quantify a lot of these elements from their behavior in real meetings and presentations, and then helps them track progress over time, provides them personalized content based on these things that provides them guidance to improve on these. And other aspects you see here is also sort of like a social aspect to it, so that they can compare against other peers, professional peers, as to how they are doing on different aspects of communication. So this is the dashboard, which is a desktop application that they come to see all of this data. The other aspect of it is also real-time feedback, which they get during the meetings. So a lot of the things can be improved by taking action right inside the meeting. So for example, what you see here is a prompt they get if they're speaking too fast, so that may result in others not understanding them. So it gives them real-time feedback that you have been speaking too fast, so that they can take that action immediately. So a lot of these elements can also be improved by providing real-time feedback during the meeting and presentation. So overall, like, why we think this approach works is first and the biggest reason is continuous feedback. We provide you feedback right inside the meetings, right after the meetings, and this is something that's really not available today to people. This sort of feedback on their communication, and a lot of research that's done shows that like feedback is the number one way people can improve on a skill like this, by getting feedback. So first is continuous feedback. Then on the top of that, personalized learning. Given all the data we are able to capture on your communication, we're able to provide you personalized content and guidance on how you should improve on those aspects. And third is like utilizing a lot of techniques like gamification and stuff to really make people addicted to improving on this, making them really making a behavior change on them. Me and my co-founders have developed games, have developed other applications that involve a lot of behavior change. So come with that sort of expertise in our background. And as you can imagine, now is the perfect time to start something like this. COVID-19 has shifted a lot of work to remote and a lot more online meetings. So this kind of software becomes much more powerful when most of the meetings are happening online. And so a lot of all of the meetings can be observed, and you can get feedback on them. And then the artificial AI technology is also improved a lot, that we can provide a lot more automated feedback today. Our team comes with a lot of background in AI, developing sort of AI and voice-based products. Charles, who is the CEO, has worked in Amazon Alexa and worked on some top mobile games. Vicky, who's the CTO, he was the first engineering hire at ASAP, which is now almost $1 billion AI voice company. And I myself, I was an early engineer at Microsoft Teams, and also helped grow Glassdoor self-service business from very small to almost 20 million ARR. We also have got pretty strong advisors who are experts
30 seconds
in
over,
communication coaching. Sorry?
You're 30 seconds over now. Let's switch to the comments.
I think I'm done. Yeah, thank you. The feedback.
Soumya, so I think it was a very simple and very easy to understand what your product is, and I think your own sharing your own story of how it was a problem you. So I thought that was a good way to build connect with the listeners, and also build credibility to why you're doing this. I think maybe you had it towards the end, but I thought a missing piece was around external validation of the product. So how many users have used it, what is the retention rate of those users, if you've tested monetization, what does that look like, just to see are people seeing value from this product and demonstrating that. I think that would be one. And the second more minor piece would be, is this something, what does it take for people to use this? Do you have to download something else? If they use Zoom, does it just work with existing tools that they're using? So yeah, those two would be some questions.
Totally. So I'll quickly tackle the second one. Yeah, users just download a desktop application and then it works in the background with all of their online meeting clients, whether it's Zoom or Google Hangout or something like that. So that's kind of how it works. And on the first one, so we are early. We launched this company 4 or 5 months ago. And so actually how we started was we started doing this manually, where we joined people's meetings and presentations, mostly presentations because those were more public, and gave them real-time feedback and feedback after the meeting. And we saw real good feedback, sort of feedback from those users. They wanted to keep using us again and again. A lot of them learned new things for the first time about how they speak. So it was like straight away like a aha moment for them right after the meeting. Oh, I didn't know I'd do something like this. And so that's kind of how we validated it first. And we also did a lot of surveys to kind of see a lot of them are willing to pay almost like up to like $30-40 a month for a service like this. And then given how expensive coaching is, it's kind of like where it takes more than $100 to few $100 per month for a session. A lot of people have explored those options, so this seemed like a steal to them. So we launched our software-based version, first version, like 2-3 weeks ago. So we're still kind of testing that out with pretty early users who don't have like great retention numbers to report on that given the time period. But we are seeing like we have 10 users and almost like 3 or 4 of them are using it daily right now with all of their meetings. So it's pretty early to report on that yet.
Thank you very much, Samya. And that is time. I
was going to squeeze in a quick one, Animesh.
Go ahead.
Just the great presentation. The strategic question for you would be, what is the lifetime value of a customer? Because coaching in this aspect is probably a one-time, meaning someone does it for a month or a quarter or 6 months, and at some point they will drop off. So that's something you should think about carefully.
Totally. Thanks. Yeah, we are trying to position it more as like a safety blanket for you that you would always need to make sure you're communicating well. There's no limit to how good you can communicate. So that's kind of what our sort of vision is, to kind of move towards that approach. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Suresh for FormSet.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible now?
Yes, Suresh, go for it.
Okay. Hope I'm able to see the screen, right? Hello?
We can see your screen. Keep going.
Yeah, so thanks for having me in this call. And I'm Suresh Srinivasan, one of the founder of FormSet. FormSet is a data analytics company based out of Bangalore, and we have a sales office in Menlo Park. So what we have built a product in the space of data excellence. So basically our goal is to achieve data excellence in any enterprise through Megbot. And if you look at why we build this product, if you look at the challenges today in the data analytics, the data is more today in any enterprise, and still the business is struggling to make sense out of the data. And why it is because most of the data which is coming in are typically unstructured data. And the survey, basically the Gartner reports and everything is saying like more than 80% of the businesses are not data driven today. And the reason for that is there are significant challenges at each stage, where like if you look at in the data management part, for example, a data is always scattered across the vertical applications, and they are all of different formats. And broadly, people basically write code to integrate, and bespoke pipeline is being created. Okay. And if you look at the unstructured data, it is never coming into the mainstream so far. When I say unstructured data, large volume of customer support email data, for example, or customer support web chat data, or a PDF files, for example, or videos and images, right? And this heterogeneous data, which is predominantly manually integrated, it leads to a more of basically a trustworthiness in the data itself. And because the data is not being trustworthy, whatever you do in the downstream, for example, the machine learning or deep learning, if you're doing it, most likely it is not going to lead you the right solution for you, right information, insights for you. And lastly, the data exploration and pre-processing is always taking a time. So the poor data excellence leads to a data inefficiencies overall, because it is, if you look at currently, we just step back and look at what is happening today, it is predominantly a data first approach instead of a business first approach. And why am I saying that? If you look at data scientists or analysts or CXOs, they always talk about the business side of the data. It's nothing but entities and the attributes around the entities. Whereas the data engineers and data IT typically talk about the data structure, data, the schema and things like that. So this basically what is happening is for each of the data which is required, data pipeline and data pipeline is being bespoke created, right? Lots of basic data engineering code is being done, and it leads to a morely about the capex and opex inefficiencies there. This is where Megbot is coming in. Megbot, if you look at it, if you just step back and look at again what is happening in the current world is that the data is actually richly interconnected, and unless you manage, explore, and connect, you cannot actually derive value out of the data. This is where Megbot basically comes with. It enables effortlessly to manage all your data, predominantly no code or low code, and explore odd data swiftly at a scale. And basically governance and trust is being inbuilt. The inbuilt compliance is being there in Megbot. Okay, and what we do, Megbot basically achieves data excellence by reducing almost like 80% of the time to derive the actual value from the data itself at a basic less than 60% of the cost itself. And why is that? Because the entire thing is actually what do you call the entire human-less data engineering effortless effort, meaning the approach. So what we do is we actually we create what we call a smart data folds. Basically, we have proprietary algorithm around that to create what do you call a one view of all data across the data sources. And this data basically provides various teams within the enterprise itself can actually collaborate across the team, kind of create what we call a domain data model. And this domain data model enables automatic connection across the data sources. And because of that, anybody without any IT support or data engineering effort can actually explore the data in a few seconds or a few milliseconds based on the what they want. And they actually can create virtual data set. This virtual data set which they are getting, it is always actually clean and it is always governed. When I say governed, what we meant is nothing but you get the entire lineage, that the what do you call security is inbuilt, access control is inbuilt, and you actually can get the entire information in a few seconds, right? So this is what Megbot is, and it is basically being used in. We have run so currently our customers are FIS Global, AC Nielsen.
And that's 30 seconds over. I'm sorry, you're 30 seconds over right now.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions? I would be happy to answer your questions.
How long is the integration if company wants to adopt your platform?
We typically say like less than 4 weeks. 4 weeks is what we have been so far making it. Entire data is available with the one insight within a 4 weeks time. That is what our entire USP is. And it has been successful in ChargePoint and FIS Global and AC Nielsen in that way.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
You've described a very broad platform, and I'm trying to find if there is a vertical or a specific use case that where you actually shine in terms of the use of the data.
Yeah, see, currently we are horizontal, and with that, like as far as ESPN Cricinfo is concerned, we went into the ESPN, like the insight is completely running on Megbot. Similarly, FIS Global, there are two applications running within FIS Global. One is on the ATM cash prediction, and another is actually enhancing the customer experience management. And lastly, in ChargePoint, the entire sales 360 degree and marketing 360 degree analysis is happening on MedBot there. So our USP is basically bringing a knowledge-driven analytics in real time is what we are proposing. We are actually providing through MedBot, and that is being like successful in these companies which I'm talking about here today.
You know, I know very little about your company. Obviously, we are meeting for the first time, but my instinct is that if you were to narrow the focus to particular verticals or particular use cases, you may see faster integrations, greater velocity in go-to-market, etc. That's just my instinct, having heard the presentation for the first time.
Okay, sure. Any other questions?
Now, I'll just echo Ashmit's point. I think having a definition of who's your ideal customer, and if you were to target your sort of out of thousands of companies in the world, who would you target if you have to do outbound? That would be helpful in even other people understanding which direction the company will be heading.
Yeah, sure. We typically talk to the CAOs or CIOs and start from there and go down. For example, in ChargePoint, we actually were interacting with the CIO. Similarly, in FIS Global, we started with the analytics head within FIS Global. ESPN, we went with the CIO again. So this is where we typically go and talk to the CIOs and CAOs or CDOs.
Samir, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's move on to the next one. Safin
Thank
AI.
you. Thanks a lot.
Pawan, you're up.
Can everyone see my screen and hear me properly?
Yes, go for it.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Pawan.
Oh, sorry, I see your Zoom screen right now.
Oh, shoot.
Wrong monitor, perhaps.
Can you not see this screen? Sorry.
We now see Windows Explorer.
All right, sorry. Right, can you see my screen now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Pawan. I'm an IIT2020 alumni. Today, I'm going to talk about our startup, Safin AI, where we make smart microscopes for blood analysis. We are a spin-off company from Duke Computational Optics Lab. So everyone knows like blood tests are one of the most common tests ordered for diagnostics, and they have a huge market of $50 billion. There are hundreds of blood tests out there, but there are three main types of machines that are generally used to perform these tests. The first one is looks something like this, and it generates the total counts of red blood cells and white blood cells in your body, and a report might look something like this. And the second one is a microscope, where a pathologist has to make a microscope slide of your blood, and they have to manually look at the smear to any abnormal features in your blood. And the doctor receives a report which just tells the statements from the pathologist, and they don't get to see the images themselves. And the third types of machines look like these, and they are chemical and antibody tests, and they might need different machines and different chemicals. And a report would again look something like this. This was a COVID test. So our vision is at Safin AI is to combine these three types of machines into one low-cost machine, because right now these three machines can only fit in a huge pathology lab, and they are super expensive. So in the current work, we are mainly focusing on integrating the first two types of machines into a portable machine, which looks like this. So our solution here is to create a custom chip for sample preparation, which is inserted into your microscope, into our device, which is basically a microscope. And it uses AI and cloud computing to perform real-time analysis of the sample. And we provide a report which has the CBC report. And also we provide the images of abnormal cells, which is not available using current methods. So our core technology is a simplified microscope, and we use an LED array illumination instead of a standard illumination. So we use a technique called Fourier tachographic tomography, in where we turn on one LED at a time and capture multiple images. And these are combined using computational algorithms to get the phase and refractive index in 3D of a blood cell. And these parameters can be used to get blood cell bed parameters, which cannot be obtained by just using regular microscope images of blood. And the second interesting thing is we use, of course, machine learning to count the cells and to find abnormal cells. But the most interesting thing here is we integrate machine learning into the hardware. So we use AI to optimize our LED illumination pattern, hence improving the contrast and quality of the image, which is not available using just regular machine learning algorithms. So these are our competitors. Like there are a few startups in the similar with a similar motivation of making low-cost portable devices, and we see Sight Diagnostics as our main competition because they have they achieve the same they have the same goals as we do, but their device has 3 sensors to achieve everything, and our device doesn't need that. We only need 1 sensor. Hence, our device is expected to be like 5 to 10 times cheaper than the Sight version. And these are our customers, and we are targeting a market of $1.35 billion, and we have 3 revenue sources. Our primary revenue is per test commission and from the cloud services and consumables such as test chips. And we also get some revenue from selling the primary device itself. So this is the current traction. So we already have established partnerships with several major diagnostic centers in India. Since most of our co-founders are from India, we are targeting India as our main market, together with US, because we are currently based in US. We have a strong collaboration with Duke Hospital, where we are performing our alpha phase of the testing. And in the beta version, which we'll do next year, we are going to put our devices in the diagnostic centers in India and get some feedback. And we are also planning to get a lot more data for machine learning and analysis. So far we have raised, we have received Azure's Microsoft startup grant, and we also received a couple of Duke internal grants to translate this research into commercialization. We are currently looking for around $250,000 seed funding for beta testing and for some more support staff. So we have a very good team, well-rounded team, where we have experts in optics and experts in machine learning. And our advisor, our group leader, he's a professor at Duke who has experience in both microscopy, imaging, and machine learning. And we have some great mentors both in the business and in the clinical side, helping us get through this journey. And thank you for your attention, and feel free to ask any questions.
Perfect. We're at 6 minutes right now. Go ahead.
This is very well done. I mean, you've accomplished a lot with very little capital so far, and it's clearly an exciting opportunity. You talked a lot about the technology. It was less clear to me that from a customer standpoint, the customer being a lab,
sure,
what is the value proposition? Would they buy it just because is it 10 times cheaper? What's
sure,
their value proposition? Or do you enable them to do tests they can't do before?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So there are 2 value propositions. One is for these huge diagnostic labs, where they'll have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy these expensive equipment and have like a lot of space for them in their lab. So that's one value proposition to the diagnostic centers. We're offering a cheaper device, and also like in a smaller form factor, so they can have more devices and run more tests. And second thing is, right now, these tests can only be done at diagnostic centers. For example, if you go to a doctor's office, they'll have to take your blood and send it to a diagnostic center. Using our device, we can do the testing at a doctor's office.
Got it. The one thing to keep in mind, Pawan, will be that diagnostics is a very, very high margin business. It's like software. Most pathology labs have a gross margin of 90%.
Sure, yeah.
And so it's not clear that they really care as much about the cost of the equipment. But again, something for you to think about as you go forward.
Perfect.
Unless there are other questions, we should probably move on.
Sure.
I just want to say that you did an amazing job of explaining to someone who knows nothing about this market what you were doing, why you were doing it, and how special it was.
Thank you.
Very well done. Yeah.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Next up is, we have 3 presentations coming up from our friends who are the mentors at IIT Startups. It's a Bay Area-based mentoring organization, nonprofit. The first of those presentations will be from Highway Hall from Syed Aman. Go ahead, please.
Right. Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Aman. I'm the CEO and one of the 3 co-founders of Highway Hall, which is a digital freight platform for fresh produce. We are 2 years old. We are Silicon Valley based, and we have raised $3.3 million in angel investment so far. And as a team, we have spent most of our career at Walmart. In fact, Sharon and myself, we laid the foundation of Walmart's online grocery platform and scaled it up from a few $1 million business to a multi-billion-dollar business. And that's where we realized the nuances and quirks of the produce fraternity and the kind of attention and love it demands. So we step out, join hands with Zahid. He has owned several produce businesses in the past and had his own trucking company. And we also have gathered a very active advisory board group. For example, Rollin Ford, who was a former CIO and Chief Logistics Officer at Walmart, he's on our board. Mr. Vivek Mehra, partner emeritus at August Capital, he has invested and advising us. And various other founders like Dheeraj Pandey from Nutanix, Girish Freshworks, and Rajiv from Palo Alto Networks are advising us, and they have invested in Highway Hall. So we are in good hands. So here's what is happening. There's a cosmic shift happening in the food and agriculture space. The changing consumer mindset, the fact that they are moving away from packaged food more towards fresh and organic. Supply chains of that is going to look different. So what has happened in e-commerce will now need to happen in the food and ag space, which has been run in a very traditional and old school fashion. So the digitization of pick to consume is going to be the next big thing that's going to power this massive portfolio transformation. And that's where we come in as Highway Hall. We want to reimagine and reconstruct the future supply chains of fresh produce. Now, if you look at the figure to your right, the produce moves from the growers to the distributors, to the wholesalers, and to the retailers from where you and I shop from. Now, all of these players are paying $50 billion annually to the traditional brokers to move their transportation, to arrange for the transportation. So this $50 billion is our addressable market that we want to take a leadership position in. And what you're seeing over here is the fact that A, successfully picking up and delivering a fresh produce load is a multi-step process. And B, that it involves several players like all the wholesalers, distributors, growers, carriers, drivers, etc. Right? And each of these steps is extremely manual today, based on phone calls, paper-based, and weeks out kind of AR and AP cycles, etc. And we are making each and every step as extremely digital so that the experience for every stakeholder in this equation is very touchless and automated and real time. So we went ahead and built a technology product for every actor in the value chain. For example, for the shippers, as shipper portal, key in your load parameters on a push of a button, your load will be seen by the nearby drivers who can book by a click of a button. The same loads will be seen on the carrier portal by the trucking companies who can again book by a click of a button, and they can assign the driver of their choice from the interface itself. And all of our apps are location tracking enabled. So we are watching this 24/7 on the control tower that we have built for ourselves, so that we are monitoring all the freight across all the shippers, all the carriers real time. Now we have 20 plus paying customers with 1,500 plus carrier companies on our platform. And we are right now sitting on leads worth $100 million after attending some of the right events that I can talk about. Now, let me talk about Olam. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, probably the world's largest cashew supplier. And they were using Uber Freight, which is one of our competitors. And when Highway Hall went and pitched, it was a pretty straightforward win for them to switch over to Highway Hall. And they have been giving us business for the last 6+ months, repeat and continuous. And so is the HEB as well, who had been working with some traditional brokers, the big boys like the TQL and Echo and Coyote, etc. And we have been taking away business from some of those brokers as we speak. And we're delivering every day to these destinations like Walmart, Costco, and HelloFresh warehouses. This is the 7th straight month of continuous growth in terms of all the key business metrics: the number of loads, the top line GTV revenue, the net revenue, and the mix of revenue from the cohort of customers, if you will. So to the best of our understanding, there is no new age digital player in this space yet. So we want to claim this niche and move fast. There's so much money to be extracted from the traditional brokers, and we are competing directly with them. So we want to take a leadership position in being the #1 digital freight platform for fresh produce, if you will. And shippers pay us. We keep our commission margin and we pay to the carrier. That's how the business model works. The traditional brokers are taking 12 to 15% of this transaction fee, and we are contemplating a 20 to 25% take rate at each of these transactions at scale because of our extremely digital play. And as we shift our business more from spot business to more contracted and repeatable business going forward. And then as we grow, the economies of scale will kick in and we'll optimize better routes there as well. And along the way, we'll be unlocking several other revenue streams too, because loads getting rejected is a big problem of the industry. And if we can save that through our advanced cold chain compliance that we are building, etc., we can definitely monetize on some of those opportunities too. So right now we are raising at $8 million in Series A. That'll give us a runway of about 18 months. And we want to get to a $50 million of annual revenue run rate with that. Right now we are exiting this year at 10 million revenue run rate. And once we get to 50 million, we want to raise a Series B at that point in time.
Perfect. Syed, it's 30 minutes past 5, 30 seconds past 5. That's
all I have. Thank you so much for your time. I can take questions. Any questions? Sorry, I'm just done with my presentation.
I'll go first, Aman. It's good to see you. And looks like you've built an amazing business over here already. What do you worry about?
What do I worry about? Is probably, I just want to move fast and start converting more customers. So I think the only worry is pretty much speed before we can, anyone else claims this niche. So we are the only player here as far as doing 100% of produce focus vertical. You know?
That's a good paranoia for every startup to have. You know, time is your enemy. So there's no question that you want to move quickly. I was thinking more from a strategic perspective. I mean, you have a nice positioning and there is a one-time disruption because of COVID, which is going to create some opportunity for you as people rethink logistics and supply chains. So, you know, your timing could be perfect from that perspective in terms of positioning you to take advantage of that change. Candidly, I think you should be able to get a nice Series A. I don't see any issues in what you presented.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot.
Hi, Syed. This is Ankur. Good to see you again. Good to see the progress. One question is around the space. Digital brokers obviously quite competitive. So on the margins, you know, you're projecting margins to be actually higher than traditional, or your take rate to be higher than traditional brokerages. Can you explain the rationale there? Yeah.
Absolutely. So today we are at 5% take rate actually. And by the way, if you talk about Uber, Freight, some of the competitors, they are about 1%, or actually they are more negative. The way we will expand is right now in 2019, 100% of our business was spot business. This year, 15% it's already converted to contracted. Next year, we are eyeing 25 to 30% contracted. As we grow up on the contracts, we will be unlocking more double-digit margins. And then the backhaul return trips factor will kick in when we have more trips in our platform, right? Through optimization algorithms, then we can send the driver from point A to point B. And now we are bringing the driver back from B to A. In fact, we have patented that algorithm to A to B to C to D and back to A kind of thing. So that's what we believe will unlock higher margins. We can negotiate better price with the truckers.
Thank you very much, Syed. We should move on to the next speaker. The presentation is by Venkatesh for Cupid. Thanks, Syed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Animesh. And it's a pleasure to be here. Just checking to make sure you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So just a quick note about me. I do know some of you, but I'm an old Bell Labs hand. Yesterday, there was some chatter about people of a certain vintage being able to start startups. But Ashu, to your point, I did feel the itch and I just had to do this, which is why I started the company.
That's great to hear.
Right. So, and one of the main motivations was, you know, my next big idea, I wanted to do it on my own. So that's how Cupid was born. And if you're an IIT Madras alum, you'll kind of get the name almost immediately. So we are attacking a problem that's kind of familiar to everyone. Everyone here probably has some tale of woe of standing in line in a call center, right? And this is the DMV in California. Truly horrendous statistics, not uncommon, especially in the COVID age. It's attracted headlines in papers such as the Washington Post and New York Times as well. The core problem with call centers is that it's a 30-year-old architecture based on a construct called the ACD, which is based on queues. And most of us know that queues don't really scale well under load. So what we've done is that we've created a platform that can digitize and automate customer service calls. Right? So essentially, we're programmatically able to forensically analyze and break apart calls and identify key micro moments in those calls, and then use our AI techniques to reinstantiate that journey as a just-in-time micro app that can be run on your mobile or your website. And this is being done as you're connected to the call center. So you still have the ability and the option to connect to the call center. And you can see that it has some truly impressive statistics in terms of making things better for the customer journey. So we went GA about 15 months ago. And since then, we've grown pretty explosively, 1 to 25 customers, 17x in MRR. We're able to close deals faster than we did in the beginning. And our customers are crazy about our product. We are on track, on the cusp of about $1 million in ARR, and accelerating every half year, right? So, and we've done this on the back of a replicable channel-based go-to-market. We've come to this space with very deep roots and truly understand the ecosystem of vendors and integrators who supply the customers. And we've been able to insert ourselves very seamlessly into that ecosystem, which is why we've created win-win partnerships with a number of marquee players. And for next year, we've lined up some new players who are also public cloud contact center companies. It allows us to acquire customers very, very economically and build a lead engine that just is growing exponentially. Our secret sauce here is really software that makes the whole thing come together very, very quickly. No code design templates for ingesting call scripts and converting them to digital processes. A voice contact center overlay that slides smoothly into an existing call center, and then great AI technology that allows us to orchestrate these experiences and build those micro apps in real time, right? And it all plugs into a continuous learning life cycle. So we can get the customer started in a couple of weeks, and then every few weeks, just add more. And they love that process. It's patented. And for those of you who know, our first patent was granted without any office action. That is extremely rare for a software patent. This is a big market, $300 billion spent in people costs in the call center industry. No surprise that a lot of heavy hitters in this space. We are actually able to compete and beat out some of those heavy hitters routinely, right? And our secret sauce really is that we don't ask our customers to choose a rip and replace painful disruption or dedicate a large amount of budget over a large period of time to see any return on investment. We deploy in weeks, payback in months. We've assembled a truly amazing team here. A bunch of PhDs, a bunch of IIT people, 200 years of cumulative domain experience in the space, a great CRO hire. So exec team is almost complete. Engineering team is stellar. We're ready to rock. So at this point, we've achieved product market fit. We believe all it takes is some juice in the engine. It's a replicable model. We just have to drive execution, and we have clear path to 100 million in ARR in 5 years. Just running the engine against the channels that we already have presence in, and playing in the call center basis that we already have a really strong foothold in. So that's
excellent, Venkatesh. Let's switch very quickly to comments. You can show one more slide if you want, but
I'm good.
Oh, perfect. Over to our fundamental.
Venkatesh, this is, it's a very tough market that you've entered, and you've made a ton of progress in a short period of time. So first of all, congratulations, in what is a complex and nuanced market. I'm curious, when you take a step back from a technical standpoint, what is the core insight that you think has enabled you to get the traction that you have relative to other players in the call center space?
So I would say there are three core insights. One, a lot of conversational AI players try and sort of automate the language, right? So they pour over call logs and chat logs and all that, and that's a very, very laborious process and not economical, right? Because we know the systems in the back end, we'll be able to find sources of data in call scripts and in CRMs and so on, and use the data there to get a 10x sort of advantage in speed to automation. So that's one. Second, a lot of the players in the space don't really know the call center, so they can't attach to an existing call center, right? So they'll come with a chatbot and they force the business to make a decision. Oh, I can put a chatbot on my website, but I still have to run my call center the way it is because the two don't talk to each other. We've kind of completed the chain through the telephony layer, through the ACD layer, through the agent desktop layer, and through the reporting layers in the contact center. So we are truly an add-on that just simply kind of digitizes the contact center in place, no disruption to the customer, right? So that's second. And the third one is kind of a more of a go-to-market secret sauce, which is that we've developed a bunch of templates that allow us to deploy our first use case in the customer in about 2 weeks, right? Any company today that wants to do conversational AI is looking at a 6 to 9 month project with a chatbot vendor and doing a lot of design and development work. We cut through all that, 2 weeks, they're live, and and they can add a use case every 2 weeks beyond that. And we manage the life cycle, so we surface what is the next opportunity for you to automate. Boom, you use no-code tools, develop the flow, launch it, and you're done. So
thanks a lot, Venkatesh. I want to make sure there's time for one more question if folks have questions.
This is Venki. This very, very good presentation. Very clear what you're doing. Right now the large call centers for large corporations are outsourced, and they're pretty much run by in Philippines or in India by large SI companies. So who are you exactly selling to?
Yeah, so a good question. So the large outsourced BPOs actually don't have the greatest economic incentive to automate because they get paid by the butts on seats, right? So NTT Data, your own portfolio company, is an example of that. We actually take aim at the mid-market. So the mid-market is roughly up to half of the market is mid-market with between 50 and 1,000 agents. And most of those are not outsourced. And most of those are desperate to reduce costs and go more digital because their customers are asking for digital, right?
Yeah, so I will just say that in order for you to build a large company, you probably have to penetrate some of these SIs. And I know personally, a lot of these SIs are now adopting AI and automation because they're going outcome-based contracts with their customers.
Yes.
So we can talk offline about it more. So
I just want to build.
Sorry, Ashmeet, we're going to have to move to the next one. We're running a little out of time.
Can you just give? Can we give Ashmeet a second to just make his comments? Sure. Always have a great thing to say, please.
Thank you. I'll do it very quickly. I just wanted to build on what Vab said. I think you have an unfair advantage in an understanding of the market and how this all works. You have a very business presentation sale. If you could recast your company in terms of the customers actually wanting you as their support agent, wanting you as the solution that all of their vendors used, it would dramatically change the positioning in the way you are selling yourself. I just had that as a suggestion.
Great comment. Thanks, Ashmeet. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Ash. I think we have Rahul from Quantique coming up next.
Guys, can you hear me and see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Great. Hey, hi, I'm Rahul. I'm the founder of Quantique. And imagine you are a sales engineer or a sales account manager in one of the companies which is selling complex product or solutions, companies such as VMware or Snowflake. 5 years ago, you could meet your customer, understand their needs, and provide them assets and resources to accelerate and close the deal. But today, all of that has changed. In fact, 60% of the buyers do not even come to you till they have done their own research. And when they do come to you, they spend very little time because they think of you as a tool to just close the transaction. And wait, there's more. There's not just one buyer persona. In these complex deals, there are up to 11 buyer stakeholders about which you don't know much. You don't have any insight on what they need, what they're reading, what they're viewing, what is shaping their mind. So that is the problem. Transformation underway in enterprise, and that's where Contique enters. So Contique is transforming the B2B buying and selling experience. And at the core of the experience is essentially ability for the seller organization to create a store, if you will. We call it the collaboration space, in a matter of minutes for the buyer organization. And so the focus for Contique is squarely around buyer enablement and experience, as opposed to the older paradigm of sales enablement, where a lot of companies are still focused, the legacy sales process is focused on. Now, as an example of, this is the buyer view.
If you're changing slides, we're not seeing that.
Really? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, let's try again. How about now? Can you see?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, so I'll start from here. So the core of the experience of Contique is essentially a collaboration space, or a storefront, if you will, where the seller organization can quickly line up the asset and resources and then publish it to the buyers. So here is the buyer view of such a collaboration space. So right off the bat, you can see the buyer organization can see all the resources, the white paper, PDF, URL, videos, in a timeline manner, be able to search it, but then we also to socialize that inside the organization, forward it to other buyers. Now, this is not a static page. The buyer organization can, of course, chat amongst themselves, chat with the sellers. We have integration with Team and Slack. Be able to drive joint action plans, so both sides can stay focused on the outcomes, as well as unique features such as chat and insertion on each page or slide. All that is possible using collaboration space. And while that is happening, the seller organization is able to get deep insight, minute by minute activity insight into what each organization, each buyer in the organization is doing, and then even which opportunities are impacted or which opportunities are actually predicted to close. And last but not the least, every seller can get recommendations on how to move the opportunity with a particular buyer and a particular person forward. Now, the activity, as I mentioned, the buyer activity, which Contique aggregates, is not just focused on emails or content only. It's very universal. Not only do we capture content, email, but also CRM activity, campaign activity, and even in-person presentation or Zoom presentation, like what I'm doing right now. All these are captured, and the activity per buyer per opportunity is given to the seller organization. Contique is a SaaS offering with a self-service model with a very quick onboarding, and that has driven quick seller adoption and virality, where we routinely see once a user is past a particular point in usage, they start referring to other users and they can be onboarded very quickly. That has enabled an ARR growth of around 3x in the last 2 years, and we are poised to do again the same this year moving forward. Now, as you might imagine, we are a two-sided exchange network. And what this does is, as the companies start transacting with Contique, the actual activity or the real data of an opportunity starts living in Contique. So slowly it becomes a system of record of the actual living, breathing opportunity and not the static CRM data, which of course is kept in the other CRM systems, which we integrate with. So over time, this provides a deepening moat because both the buyer and seller have this data in Contique. We do write this data to other good integrations to CRM systems. In terms of ROI, you can see we have proven the ROI in terms of productivity, sales cycle, and win rates with marquee customers. And that is enabled to give us focus customer momentum in enterprise and mid-market. And I'm here to, of course, get the feedback and look for strategic investors to join the journey with us. Thank you.
Rahul, how much are you looking to raise?
We are on track to raise Series A in around 6 months of around $8 to $10 million.
Thank you.
And Rahul, can you talk about your current, where are you in terms of ARR and also in the competitive landscape with companies like Seismic, HighSpot, or the other companies in the broader space? How do you look at the competitive landscape?
Absolutely. So ARR wise, we are planning to hit over $1 million this year, which is in a month. And then, like I said, poised for around 3x plus growth in the next year. In terms of competitive landscape, I think the sales enablement, the Seismic, the HighSpot, the SharePoints are essentially focused on inside view of enabling the salespeople. They do have some hooks of creating some pages, which the salesperson can create, but nothing compared to what I showed you in terms of interactivity and the fullness of engagement capture. The other thing which we routinely see now that they've been out in the market, that the engagement rate for those solutions themselves are very low, and we are seeing much more usage because we are a day-to-day tool where they are probably a monthly tool where salespeople goes in, downloads a bunch of things and never comes back.
Rahul, thank you very much. We need to end the presentations over here for a very quick turnaround. Ashu, are you there with us?
I am here. Shall we go on to the next one? Is this the last?
This is the end, but at 2 o'clock, the other thing starts. So we have 7 minutes to quickly do our last pieces. Rahul, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rahul. Well, before we wrap up, not just the spotlight, but wrap up sort of the entire track, I was hoping maybe we could go around the room, starting with you, Ankur, and you could talk for a minute about, what are your focus areas going forward and what kind of entrepreneurs should reach out to you after this?
Yeah, I think, we're a seed stage fund, so nothing is too early for us. I think we're very sort of founder centric in our hypothesis. So yeah, if you're, entrepreneurs are really driven, we like at least companies which have identified a clear use case of what problem they want to solve, some understanding of what kind of target customer they're looking to do. But if you could be fairly early, still ideating, we'd love to talk to you and see how we can be helpful along the journey.
Ankur, is there a specific problem that you've been looking for someone to, you're dying to find a solution to, that if I saw this company, I would fund it on the spot?
Generally, I would say we do a lot in enterprise. About 2/3 of our portfolio is enterprise company leveraging in data intelligence techniques like AI for enterprise applications, sales, marketing, HR operations, and 1/3 is more IT infrastructure. So there, some of the more drivers have been on growth of microservices and some of those drivers. So yeah, I don't have a very specific problem right now, but if you are in these areas, we tend to have fairly good coverage. So we'd love to be helpful if we can. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Ashmeet?
So as I mentioned earlier, I'm a very early stage investor looking for companies with technical insights. I'm not a thematic investor. If you are solving a hard technical problem for which you believe there is a market, I would love to meet with you and talk about it, just with the clarification that I only do software. I don't do hardware. I do see a lot of opportunity right now in hardware, but that's not in my focus area. In terms of some problems which have become visible recently, I talked about this yesterday. I talked about how data is the new oil, is driving the new economy, but data has also become the new asbestos. In other words, data is toxic. It is creating enormous problems for the companies that have data, which is basically every company. And so a lot of opportunity to create companies over there. I have 2 companies, Robust Intelligence and Concentric, in that space that will give you a feel for the types of problems that are being created with data becoming this toxic issue. And then the second observation I would make is that I do see innovation at all layers of the technology stack, all the way from chips to cloud to middleware to applications, with AI coming in as an orthogonal force in addition to this disruption, which is simultaneously happening in the stack. So no shortage of opportunities over here. It really comes down to identifying a particular problem that you are solving that you think is valuable. So identifying that problem is really where the opportunity is. Happy to talk to anyone who wants to start a company in that space.
Thanks, Ashmeet. Vab?
Yeah, hi. For me, I like to partner with entrepreneurs early, even though we are a stage agnostic fund. To me, I'm really driven by the entrepreneur vision, and where they are solving a problem, it can be sold into thousands of customers. And the entrepreneurs where we can add value to basically help them get validation by making introductions to potential customers or helping them scale the company. The areas you talk about, I will say, like Ashmeet, I like to follow Ashmeet's vision because he can really explain much better than me. But I think every stack of a technology right now is going to get redefined in the next 5 to 10 years. And it is an amazing time to start a new company. I am more geared towards the company who's still going to be cash efficient because over the past few years, it's become fashionable to raise hundreds and hundreds and $1 billion dollars. I do believe the best companies are going to be the one look like, for example, as Zoom was not only about a technology play, but it was also how do you really acquire the customers and really focus on being cash efficient. So
thank you. Sorry, go on.
I think if you think about it, for me, I was thinking about when you ask a particular area. I think entrepreneurs are much better at coming up with the new ideas, but next generation Zscaler type of company where instead of having a premise-based technology where you have to deploy it on all your branches or on your data center, can be offered as a service, either as networking, either as a security. I think are a key interest of mine.
Thank you, Bab. Just to wrap up, so I tend to be a seed investor. I tell people that if you have revenues, you're probably too late for me. I'll often go pre-revenue or very often pre-product. A couple of things to keep in mind. I'm happy to take a lot of technical risk, high risk of technical failure. I generally don't like taking market risk as much. So if it's unclear that someone will want to buy your product, that's probably not a good fit for me. And more broadly, I would say I'd rather take a 1% chance of a $10 billion company than a 10% chance of a $1 billion company, even though mathematically they're equivalent. It's just more energizing and inspiring for me personally. But over the course of the last 2 days, I think everyone in the audience has had a chance to meet a dozen or so investors, all investing very early, but with very different styles and profiles. And so hopefully it has given you a chance to see the diversity of investment ideas, the diversity of investors that are out there, and will give you a flavor of how to find the person who is the best fit for you, your startup, and your aspirations. Thank you very much, Ashmeet, Ankur, and Bab. And I want to hand it off to Animesh to take us home.
Thank you very much, Ashu. One thing Ashu forgot to mention, which I want to make sure all of you know, budding entrepreneurs and alike, search for Ashu Garg podcast, find his website. There's a nice podcast you should take a look at. Some pretty good conversations going on over there. I do want to make sure we take a little bit of time to acknowledge the team. The whole Invent Startup Showcase itself has been like spinning up a tiny organization. We got lots of good guidance. We got guidance from very strong mentors like Professor Mohanbir Sani, who actually gave us the terms spotlight and showcase to do our little positioning nicely. We got tips from Suraj Matre, who ran the pitch contest for IIT2020 event, and also from Catherine Santa Maria, who runs the RICE Business Plan competition. Thank you so much for that. We got tips also from Vikram Gupta and team at Ivy Camp out in India in terms of how to run these pieces. Of course, Sanjeev Goel gets a ton of credit for the vision early on. Quick pictures over here. Swadeep Pilasati is my partner in crime in India. Rohit Koshi runs the India thing. Pratyush, great job. We have a bunch of team members who are students who actively helped us get participation. Ashu, to kind of add to your numbers, totally about 40 odd VCs and angels have laid their eyes on this, including the India and US panels together. 450 odd startups, 33 chosen for the spotlight. Also, more team members. You have, of course, Sanjeev and Viti, team members Sukriti, Karan, Ashu's there. Other team members also, again, prominent names over here. Lots of students who helped us out. You can see by the profile pictures. We had Jatin and Satyendra, Venkat, Saksham. So thank you, everybody. This has been a great journey. I think this has been a pretty recent version 0.1. We will keep rolling. Please look out for an email from me about the Invent app. We would like to continue this ecosystem, a nice place for IIT and investors and startups to come together and find each other. Once again, thank you very much, everybody. Let's go and join the main closing event of the event. Ankur,
Wonderful job, animation team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.